All right, yeah, we are live. Cool. All right, everything's rolling. So Green Growth CPAs here. Just wanted to hop in and just give you a few updates in our cities. So I just wanted to kind of hop in and give you a few updates that we've kind of clicked a few sources on, and we'll chat with you about. So if you have any questions, drop them into the chat. If we don't get to it during the live stream, you can email us at admin@greengrowthcpas.com or visit our website at greengrowthcpas.com. Click on the Get Started button in the top right corner and then fill out the form. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. And lastly, you can reach out to us via telephone. Give us a call at 800-674-9050. So let's just hop right into the updates. Again, two things I want to talk about: the tax filing updates as well as the shelter in place updates. So first, tax filing updates. You may have seen the actual payment date got extended to July 15th. That was earlier this week, I believe, on Monday or Tuesday, that got put out by the administration. Now, this morning, got an article that says that the filing date has now been extended as well to July 15th. And this is for the federal taxes, okay? Now, the administration believes that states will fall into place, and many states have already said they're going to push their dates out there a little bit to 60 or 90 days later. I'm going to put a link here in the chat. It's an AICPA link, and let me just drop this in here. If you're watching live, you can, hop in and read onto that link. It's the AICPA coronavirus update. You can check those out. You could even Google that. We'll have this available through our next email that's going out. At any rate, so you've got a filing update. So that means that you can, wait to file your taxes. But a few reasons you may want to file right away. So if you're due a refund, you should file your taxes right away with either the city or the state or the federal tax authorities, because you need to get that money as soon as possible. So get your money, file right away if you think you're due a refund. Now, if you believe that you actually owe some money, you may want to file early so that you know what you're going to be owing, so you can plan accordingly, use your cash on hand accordingly, because these taxes, they don't go away. You're going to have to pay them at some point. So it's better to know. You don't have to pay right away, but to know is that power. Say, all right, this is how we're going to manage our cash over the next month or 2 months or whatever that's going to be. Now, the second thing I want to talk about here is the shelter in place orders, or the safer at home emergency orders. Now, it's been implemented in certain cities and certain states, and it potentially could go national. Who knows? It might be national by the time you watch this video, but that's why you can't brush this off. This is not going away, okay? So I wanted to hop on and just discuss how this may affect your cannabis business. And the big question is, are cannabis businesses essential businesses that can stay open, like a grocery store or an auto shop? So if you looked in, maybe you're in California, a fair amount of our clients and our audience and our community is in California. You notice that the city of LA County, and then the state of California issued these shelter in place orders. So essentially, the California governor, Gavin Newsom, issued a shelter in place order for all of California. And he assured the public that cannabis retailers are not included in his list of non-essential businesses that must close. So with that said, nothing really does prevent local jurisdictions from saying, well, all right, this is a non-essential business. We're going to not allow this to be open. You saw that happen in San Francisco. I'll get to that in a moment. And then that got overturned. At any rate, it could be a state-by-state basis. You really have to be thoughtful and reach out to your local authorities and see what their orders are. Essentially, what happens when these orders come out, you're going to see a memo or referendum that comes out and says, all right, this is what can stay open and this is what cannot stay open. In the LA, the state of California orders, it did say cannabis businesses can stay open. But if your city implements something before your state does, you may be restricted in how you operate your cannabis business. Now, you may have noticed that CalNormal, which is the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, they got involved in the effort that was going on in San Francisco, and they opposed what was going on in San Francisco because they, in the city of San Francisco, wanted to suddenly close off all the cannabis retailers and delivery services due to the coronavirus concerns, which valid concern, I get it. But within 24 hours of normal saying, hey, we don't want this to be happening, you need to keep these places open, the city reversed its decision, declaring that cannabis businesses are essential businesses and allowed them to actually reopen if they were going to be instituting measures for distancing between customers. Now, you're also seeing these curbside orders where you kind of pull up to the parking lot or pulling up to their location. A bud tender will stay a certain distance away and then ask for your order, go back inside, package the order up, and then give you. There's many different things going on here, but check your local city and state laws. If this does become a national thing, we'll just see what the national law or order says. But the reason this is very important is because some cities are saying medical can stay open, but recreational cannot be open. But the problem with that, especially with these older medical markets, is that California, a lot of the residents here have allowed their medical cards to lapse because you can go get recreational cannabis anywhere, pretty much. Now, that's a problem, especially if you are using this cannabis for a medical purpose but don't retain a medical marijuana card. Then you're going to be in some problems trying to find your supply. So again, because the medical and recreational designations have kind of merged all down and everything has kind of come together, we need to make sure that we keep all the recreational and the medical shops open. So just make sure you're looking out for that. Look in your local orders. Let me check the chat if there's anybody in here that's asking any questions. Don't see anybody asking questions, but we got some viewers here, which is great. So just look at your local things here. Again, this may be a national shelter in place by the time you watch this video, but if not, over the next few days or weeks as this thing progresses, check your shelter in place orders. Now, what we're seeing just on the retail side, dispensaries like brick and mortar dispensaries and delivery services are seeing sales skyrocket. Whether it's panic or whether it's hey, we're not going to be at work, we might as well have some cannabis at the house. You're seeing a lot of people buy a lot of cannabis. A lot of consumers are rushing to buy cannabis right now. I think it's one of those things you want to stockpile because you don't know if it's going to go away. I mean, what happens when you see like these recreational markets open up, supply shrinks, right? You have a medical market, then they open up the recreational market and then just goes crazy, right? Everybody wants to get some cannabis. I would say if you are a retailer, a delivery service, stay in contact with your distributors and your supply chain to know a few things. Are those distributors down for like a skeleton crew? Maybe they have people that are sick, or maybe they are reducing all operations to nothing. Who knows? So make sure you reach out to your distributors and find out what lead times are, what inventory levels are. Is there any special protocols for deliveries, for ordering? Do you need to get your order in by a certain time to get it within a certain amount of days? Just be very thoughtful about your supply chain right now, because you don't want to get caught with no supply when there's money to be made, when there's business to be had. So, be very thoughtful about that. Now, on the other side, conversely, if your business is suffering, there's some manufacturers that can't operate. There are some cultivation sites that are seeing interruption. Distributors, if you're feeling interrupted, any of the recreational places, and this goes for anybody around the country. It's not just a California thing. I want to get that very clear. This is a national thing here. So if you are feeling the struggle, you can't meet financial obligations, maybe you're an investor and your business has stopped communicating with you, or they're incredibly underwater, there is an option, right? Bankruptcy is not an option for cannabis businesses, but receivership is an option for cannabis businesses. So use these debts. For example, if you're a cannabis business and you have made a debt note with somebody, that debt does not go away. I would essentially call this like the student loans for cannabis business. This is not going away. You can't just claim bankruptcy and fold up the business. You will have to pay that debt. But one thing you can do is enter into what we call a receivership. And this is something that ordinary businesses have been taking advantage of, and investors too. Investors, you can use a court order to move your investor, like the businesses you've invested in, into receivership and force them to pay off that obligation. Now, real quick, what a receivership is that a court is going to appoint you a person that will manage your business to do a few things, potentially turn it around to profitability or break even, or they will help you sell off your assets in part or in whole as the business, things like your licenses, your equipment, your inventory, or again, the whole business as it's one item here. Now, a nuance I'm going to make a longer video about is that if you are an investor and you say you put $1 million in, and this cannabis company has spent maybe $1 or $2 million because they got some equity investments from somebody else, and then maybe they took that $1 million of debt in on you. So what you can do is use that $1 million debt note to be your initial bid to buy out any assets that that business has, right? You're getting paid off in a certain sense, but you can also essentially buy that business for the $1 million investment, this number I just arbitrarily grabbed. So there may be a cannabis business out there that's worth $2 to $3 million, but no one's bidding on it. Your initial $1 million debt note is your opening bid, and you may be able to get a business for that $1 million. So we're going to be covering more about receivership because I know this is a tight time for everybody, and you don't want this to kind of slide and keep going and going and going. Do it sooner than later. You don't even have to enter into receivership. What I would say is reach out to Green Growth CPAs, chat with us. We've helped a fair amount of clients we started doing this in either September or October last year. We've concluded a few of those receiverships. We're still in some of them now, and we can do the due diligence. We can do the business valuation for you. We can really peel back and unpack these businesses so you understand what you have as a business owner, what you have to sell, what it's worth. And as an investor or someone that's willing to buy some of these businesses, what is this business actually producing in value? And then what does it also have in tangible assets in value? So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to us via our website at greengrowthcpas.com or give us a call at 800-674-9050. Again, tax filing update. The deadline has been for filing and for payment has been kicked out 90 days for the federal to July 15th. And then you have your states falling into place. Hopefully, maybe not all of them. Check that link that I dropped into the chat. But those, the administration believes, will fall. The states will kick everything out 60 to 90 days. So check into that. Again, also the shelter in place, be jurisdiction by jurisdiction. But in the state of California, for most jurisdictions, 98%, 99% of them, everyone can stay open. Just practice the spacing out of your clients, doing the curbside orders, things of that nature. Now, if you have any questions, please reach out to us at greengrowthcpas.com or give us a call at 800-674-9050. Stay safe out there. Again, reach out to us. We're going to start hopping onto these live streams a little bit more, and I look forward to chatting with you. If you have any questions, also, when you go to the website, drop in some questions. I'll just start answering questions. We might do a little like cannabis co-working here where I just kind of keep the live stream going, and then you can ask questions if they pop in. So have a fantastic Friday. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.